All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Be That Guy podcast. We're on episode number 190, and I have an awesome story today that I want to share with you guys about my sister. And this story is exactly what discipline looks and feels like. And a couple weeks ago, I've been sharing this very publicly, like social media wise. All my buddies are now getting married. So I'm flying back at home to Rochester, New York a lot to go to all these weddings, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. One of our last weddings that we went to, the Prince wedding, Nick and Kate Prince now. My sister came home from Rhode Island. She drove 6 hours from Rhode Island. All right, Rhode Island to Rochester, New York. And when we all got to my parents' house, it was great to see everybody, right? There's hugs, there's kisses. My sister walks in with this cooler. All right, this big, I think it was like a Yeti cooler. She comes in, she sets it down, and she opens it up. And I go, what the hell is this? And she goes, this is all of the food that I'm allowed to eat right now. And little backstory, right now my sister is doing a bodybuilding bikini contest. And as of me making this episode right now, we're in the beginning of July. Her contest is literally in like less than 2 weeks. And so this wedding was about a month ago. And so she's on a super strict diet. She's on a super strict workout plan. And she literally brought a cooler of food that she could eat. In this cooler, there was like rice, there was chicken, there were these like beef sticks. And I'm going to actually put a picture of her with the cooler on the screen here so you can kind of get a little context to what I'm explaining and how cool it was. And she just like walked through and just put it right down. And she's like, this is the food that I'm eating, right? So now I want you to think about this. The next day we went to the wedding, all right? Beautiful wedding. At this wedding, there are delicious cookies, there are cannolis, there are all of these like the wedding cakes, right? There's pasta. There are all of these extremely delicious cuisines. And my sister ate her beef sticks before and drank water, no alcohol, or whatever she ate before, but she didn't eat any of these treats and all of these delicacies that were available at the wedding. Now, if you're the people who plan the wedding, Deandra is not the person to plan for these weddings because she's not going to eat the food, especially if she's doing a bodybuilding contest in 2 weeks. And so she didn't touch any of this food, right? She ate all the food out of her cooler. And the coolest part about this was that she didn't really tell anybody about it. She only told, obviously, her family because we were like, dude, what the hell is going on with this cooler? But she didn't tell anybody about it, right? She did it like silently. It was like this invisible thing. And so I wanted to share that story because a lot of the times, right, I talk about discipline all the time, talk about consistency, confidence, all of these things intertwine together. And this example of what my sister did with packing a cooler full of the food that she could eat, driving 6 hours to Rochester, New York from Rhode Island, coming in and then only eating that food that weekend, not drinking any alcohol with all of her friends at the wedding, not eating any of the cake, the cookies, or the pasta, any of those unhealthy carbs. She decided to stick to this disciplined diet of eating these types of foods. And she also, on that morning, I woke up and I actually worked out. She did I believe a cardio workout on a treadmill in our basement for like an hour and a half. And I like to share this story because this is what discipline looks like. All right, this is what it feels like. All right. And discipline is doing the hard thing when the easy thing is readily available as well. All right. For example, doing the hard thing was eating all of the food that she brought. Doing the easy thing is eating the cake, eating the pasta, eating the cookies. All right. And so I talk a lot about how we can improve our confidence by sticking to our commitments. This is what I mean, right? Deandra had this commitment of, hey, I'm going to eat a certain way and I'm going to stick to that commitment amongst all of the easy things that are around it. And so this is how you build your confidence, right? Nobody was really watching Deandra. She did this on her own, right? This was a very personal decision for her to make and for her to follow through on. And so I want to give you guys 5 quick examples of this, because we have Deandra's example, but I want to break this down to if you're like a guy 18 to 21, right? You just graduated high school and you're trying to find some direction. You're trying to find really who you are. Here are 5 decisions that will help you start to improve your confidence. And this is how you make the disciplined decisions right now. All right. If you wake up before class or work and you go to the gym. All right. Now, the hard thing is getting out of the comfy bed because it's very warm and it's very cozy. The easy thing is staying in the warm bed because it's very warm and it's very cozy. Second thing, saying no to a party or going out and saying no to a party or going out and deciding to focus on a personal goal. All right, the hard thing, FOMO, fear of missing out, right? All the stories that people are going to tell the next day in school or the next couple of weeks, all right? Missing out on the fun. And I'll even share this one. Others might even start to talk shit about you. Might start to say, oh, he's too uptight, right? He doesn't actually breathe a little bit. He doesn't like to have fun. I've personally actually had people say that about me sometimes when I decided to stay in. And I even had a friend once who say, oh no, DJ's probably playing on his computer tonight. Really what I was doing when I was figuring out how to build a landing page for the first time in my life, all right, at 10:30 at night on a Friday. All right, so people will sometimes even come back at you. All right, and obviously the easy thing, go to the party, right, and not follow through on that personal commitment that you made, right? Because here's the thing, you're going to remember that. You're going to remember the fact that you wanted to work out on Saturday morning at 7 a.m., but you decided to go out Friday night, and then you didn't wake up on Saturday morning, all right? That's a commitment that you didn't follow through on. Number 3, if you want to do meal prep on Sunday, right? Who wants to meal prep on Sunday? The hard thing is you take 2 hours to prepare, to plan, to cook all of these meals for the week. The easy thing is you decide not to do it and you just order Uber Eats for the whole week, or you just go out for all of your meals at lunch and at dinner and you just eat whatever's convenient. All right. Number 4, turning your phone off at night so you get to bed on time. The hard thing is putting the phone down. All right, not answering those last notifications. The easy thing, sitting on your couch and scrolling through all of the entertaining things that phone has to offer. All right, and then the last thing, breaking off a situation that's holding you back. Hard thing, being honest with yourself or being honest with the parties involved in that situation, actually making a change, and we have to walk away from comfort. Easy thing, staying because it's familiar, even though we know that it's harming us. All right. So I give you guys these examples just so we can understand that discipline is doing the hard thing when the easy thing is also right there. This is what I saw when my sister brought this cooler. The hard thing was bringing that cooler, and the easy thing was just eating the food that was going to be available and convenient that weekend. And I know that there's going to be a lot of you who say, all right, this is too much. This is way too rigid of a way to live your life. And here's what I say to that. Become an animal of discipline and consistency first, and then figure out how to manage it. Jordan Peterson talks about how he recommends people just become savages first, right? Discipline, consistency, intensity, right? Go achieve great things and then figure out how to manage it. Figure out how to actually have an off day. Figure out how to really enjoy your vacation, or figure out how to have that piece of pizza when you want to. All right. On my leg, I have a whole leg sleeve of a tattoo, and it is a representation of the quote, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And the metaphor that represents is that I'd rather be super intense and figure out how to manage it and control it versus being super weak and having something shock me into figuring out how to be intense. All right, let's get intense first. Let's get good at being confident young men, right? For a guy who's listening to this who's 18 to 21 years old, right? Let's become an animal of discipline and consistency and organization and confidence, and then figure out how to manage it later. It becomes a much easier trajectory. All right. This is actually the exact formula that we teach guys in our 12-week habit program. We actually show guys, here's the hard decisions that we're going to make over these 12 weeks, and here's the easy decisions that are going to be readily available. And we're going to do this as a team, as a group of guys, so that when you decide that you don't want to read for 10 minutes, or when you decide that you don't want to exercise today, not only are you going to let yourself down, you're also going to let all of your team members down. And that accountability and that fear typically will push that guy into actually following through on that commitment. You do that for 12 weeks. You have all of this evidence. That's how you shift what you think about yourself. It's a very simple process. All right. Yet also what's simple to do is not always necessarily easy to actually follow through on. All right. So we actually have guys track the hard decisions that they're making. All right. So I want to wrap this up. I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes, but I wanted to share the story with you guys because I know I've talked a lot about discipline, but I wanted to show you exactly what it looked like. And I want to show you exactly what it feels like, right? The quiet strength that my sister possessed by bringing that cooler 6 hours, eating that food, not necessarily eating any of the food that was convenient for her that weekend, and then maintaining her exercise schedule as well. All right, this is what discipline looks like, and this is what will eventually lead into being a more confident person because you made the hard decision when no one was there to tell you to make that decision but you. That's how you build confidence. That's how you follow through, and that's how you change your life. All right. So if you like this episode, I'm not going to ask you to rate it. I'm not going to ask you to review it. I'm not going to ask you to send it to somebody. Just like it today. All right. If you're watching it on YouTube, give it a like. If you're watching it on Spotify, give it a like, right? Give it the little star rating, whatever that is. That's all I'm going to ask if you guys got some value out of this. And if you want to, right, if you're a parent, send this to your son then, all right? Have him start to think about those hard decisions that he might want to start making in his life. And if you're a guy in that age of 18 to 21, listen through this again and think about those 5 decisions that I made or those 5 scenarios, all right? Think about those hard choices, all right? Think about how they might also affect you in your life and the hard choices that you want to make moving forward. All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you soon.